All right, friends, new and old, welcome back to the Be Fabbo Podcast. This is episode 128. And today we're going to talk about how to build an audience by sounding like yourself. So glad you chose to spend a few moments with me today. Always appreciated. I never take it for granted. Today's conversation is one that I do feel strongly about. We're talking about voice, using yours, finding yours. Right? I'm not talking about your brand voice here. I'm not talking about your content strategy or how to sound authoritative in your niche. I'm talking about something more fundamental than that. I'm talking about the thing that happens when you read someone's work and immediately feel like there is a real person on the other end of it, a specific person with a specific way of seeing things, with opinions that are theirs, right? This is something that I strive to do every week here in the podcast and in Substack. And anytime I speak and talk, I want people to realize I'm the person behind the content that I'm putting out and that you can feel what I'm talking about. And that while not every week will resonate with you or meet you where you are, something in the episode will be an aha moment for you or a heck no, that's not me, but something that moves you. Right? So that's what we're talking about today. When you read someone's work or you hear something that you know that that person is who they are, right? That's voice. And it is rarer than you think because most of us, somewhere in between starting to build our businesses and our careers and trying to grow to get to the next level or next milestone that we want to reach, we stop sounding like ourselves. Not on purpose, but it just gradually seems to happen. And so today I want to talk about how it happens, why it matters, and how to get back into the version of you that makes people stop scrolling and actually reads what you're saying, takes a look at your post, and realizes this is someone who has some lived experiences. This is someone who has walked the path like I walked, and they're meeting you where you are. That's always my desire and always my goal and always my mission. Again, with my podcast, with Substack, with anything that I work on, is that you find yourself somewhere here and that I'm meeting you. And it's something that nudges you to keep moving forward, to continue to reconnect with your self-belief and know that you're capable of doing and making the impact that you're here to make. I need you to believe in yourself. And having your voice and keeping your voice is all part of that. So what voice really is, and I want to be really clear about this because I think it gets confused with a lot of things that it's not. Voice, again, it's not your brand color palette. It's not your tagline. It's not that carefully crafted bio on your about page or in your link to bio or anywhere that talks about you. Voice is the way you think on that page. Voice is the way that it shows up in that color palette, that it shows up in that tagline. It's the specific thing that you notice that other people in your space don't notice or don't say out loud. It's the opinions you hold that not everyone will agree with. It's the stories only you have lived and only you can share. The way a sentence sounds like when it comes from something specifically from you. Like people know that when I say, hey, be Fabbo or you're Fabbo, it comes with a different meaning than when somebody else says it. And trust me, there's a lot of people saying it. I appreciate it. I love the effort of throwing it back at me. I love when I hear other people saying, hey, as Bobby would say, be Fabbo. And when they know that Fabbo stands for focus, authentic, brave, bold, and open, it means the world to me that my voice was getting through and they are hearing the message and now they're sharing it. But it sounds different when I share it. And it's the thing that makes a reader, a follower, anybody looking in to hire you, it's that first impression, even in the first paragraph. Like, this is a real human here. I see, I can read, I can feel their vulnerability. I can hear their level of success. I can see what they've done, but I also see how they got there. And I can see and feel and relate to when they've stumbled. And I can applaud because they got back up. Therefore, I can also get back up and get going. Now, here's what's interesting about voice. Most of us already have one. We've been using it for a while, and we use it when we're talking to a client and something clicks, and we say the exact same thing at the exact right moment. That's when we're using our voice, right? We're already using it because we're in a confident space, because we're in person. They can hear and see our enthusiasm, and we resonate off what they're giving back to us, and then we give it back to them. That's a wonderful thing about being in person. That's the thing I love about the stage, right? When we use it when we're writing an email to a friend, they get it. When we're sending a text to a friend, they get it. When we use it when we're thinking out loud about something that we really care about and we forget to be careful about how we sound. That's how we use our voice. People that know us know what we mean. People that know us know, hey, I generally did send you a little text in a tone that is to nudge you to move on, or to say, I love you without saying I love you. It might just be drive safe, which is another for I love you, right? Can't wait to see you. When you say it, people really know that you mean can't wait to see you. And when we do that in person, it's much easier. So we need to continue to be able to do that in writing and email and in text, especially when we want to communicate with a potential client. That voice, the one that we already have, is the most powerful tool in our business. And it's one that we often shove in the toolbox. Confidence, authenticity, self-trust, and our voice. Powerful, powerful tools. And mindset is also that big tool that brings it all together. How we view, how we receive, how we anticipate what we're going to receive and what we're going to do. So ask yourself, why aren't more people using it? Why aren't you using your voice? Why aren't you standing in the power of your voice? Because I think we've learned to edit it out. And we do it for understandable reasons. We soften direct things because it might be too much. And remember, some of us are too much for somebody. I'm too much for most people. I get hyper. I'm always in that good mood. I'm excited. I'm a young kid. And even with Parkinson's, that hasn't changed. I shake a little bit more when I do it. I stutter a little bit more now. But I'm still excited about life. And that can be too much for people. Sometimes we feel we're not enough. I want you to take up space with your voice. I want you to be heard and be seen. I want you to fill rooms with your voice, your personality. I want you to show up authentic yourself and be proud of who you are and where you are and what you have to share. The core values that you have, stand up for them, believe in them, want to share with them, be the cheerleader for others, but also be a cheerleader for yourself. So take up space. Use your voice. Don't be afraid. Don't hinder it. Don't let somebody dim your light because it might be too bright for them. We add qualifiers to the opinion until it barely resembles an opinion anymore. We start the piece with something real and then talk ourselves into a safer opening because what we really wanted to say might have felt too vulnerable or might have been taken the wrong way. We send an email to a client who we have decided we don't want to work with, and we just don't know how to say what we want to say instead of just being honest and saying, hey, I'm so glad to meet you today. Thank you for coming in. Based on your ideas, we feel that there is somebody else that can serve you better. Right? Nothing wrong with coming up with those answers and being honest. But the same token, when somebody sends you that dreaded, we're going in a different direction, and you're afraid to reply, go ahead and be brave enough. You're the person that might have said, screw you, or, well, your loss. Well, maybe you just simply say in your own voice, thank you for letting us know. We appreciate knowing we weren't the right fit from the get-go. Wishing you the best of luck. Because most of us honestly feel that way, right? But we have to start being ourselves and standing up for ourselves and saying no to sometimes clients that aren't the right fit is very hard financially and emotionally. But I'm telling you that when you start standing up and using your voice, they won't become a problem client. You need to see the red flags and use your voice as one of the things that can guide you when you see red flags. And underneath all of this editing, we find the two fears. We find the fears of being too much, too specific, too niche, too direct. All those fears, the two fears, the TOO fears, right? Too much, too specific, too niche down, too direct, maybe even not enough. Our fear of not being enough is huge. I don't care what industry you're in, but in life, our fear of not being enough. Not credentialed enough, not established enough to say the thing with confidence. These are things that we put on ourselves. We need to believe in ourselves and have our self-trust to make the impact that we want to make, to continue building what matters most, and to build in a way that defines success on your terms, not what somebody else has said, not somebody else's blueprint, because you are enough, and you are enough, and you know that you're enough. You know that you've lived experiences, and in my opinion, those will outdo any credentials anytime because you have the lived experiences. Again, my opinion, my podcast, right? Both fears do the same thing. Fear of being too much, fear of not being enough. They make us feel smaller on the page than we are in real life. And here's the painful irony. The things that we edit out, the directness, the specificity, I can't even do that one today, friends. The genuine opinion, the real story of why we have our voice and who our voice represents, us to our core. Those are exactly the things that make people trust us, connect with us, and come back for more. We think that what we think will make us feel safer sometimes make us feel invisible, right? And I know this. I know this because with my stuttering and not being able to say some words, and that I learned differently. And now with Parkinson's, that makes my voice softer and crack faster than it used to. I have to just own that because this is who I am. I've always had the stuttering. I've always had the severe dyslexia. I've always had to learn differently. But I share that story, not for pity or for praise, but or applause, but just to say, hey, this is who I am. And as I'm talking to you, you are going to hear some stuttering. If you've been with me and in my world long enough and in the Be Fabbo community, you know that I share that often, and it just happens. There's no big outro music. There's no big intro music. I don't go back and edit out my stutters because that's authentically me showing up for you. I spent years writing in a way that I thought a business owner was supposed to write. I often said to people, and if you've known me again, if you're in my space, you know that I text to talk, to voice, and that 99% of the time I'm going to send you a voice memo because it is easier for me to simply say what I need to say instead of trying to text it or write it off. So now we have new tools that help me text to talk or text to voice, right? Voice to text. I'm able to write an email by speaking into it, and then the email goes through. I still have to go through and look at it. But for so many years, I let that hold me back. And I stopped doing that 20 years ago. I just said, no, this is me. No apologies, no nothing. This is my voice. I know professional and careful and all the rough edges smoothed out. And then one day, I just decided I can't do it like this anymore. I just need to be me and speak my voice and stand up for what I believe in. Because in the end, who's really standing up for you? You can build a core of circles and a core of clients, but in the end, you have to be your own hero. People now write back, thanks for the quick note. People write back also when I make an error. They make a comment that I've been with you so long, Bobby, I know exactly what you said, even though I can't figure out what I said. Because sometimes even voice to text, I get the words messed up. I get them backwards. But those that want to support me and believe in me and see me and hear me for who I am have started to adapt to these crazy texts sometimes and these emails that are kind of just silly. I do not do a lot of emails. I do a lot of audio. Right? They didn't just like the messages, but they said things like, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you for saying it in a way that only you could say it. I felt like you were talking directly to me. I get those comments when I'm on stage. Afterwards, people say to me, I know you weren't talking to me directly, but man, it hit me. And the number of people that also learn differently or have kids learn differently, they come up to me and are glad that I share my story and that it gives them hope. Or sure, you're going to stumble. You're going to stumble. We all have something, right? We all have a story. We all struggle with something. Mine just happens to be in learning differently. And now with Parkinson's, I shake and do things differently than I did before. It's not just me. It's everyone that has that. So I want you to change how you write. I want you to change how you think about talking to somebody. And I want that shift for you because I changed and started doing things that resembled me. That's the personal piece I can offer you here. Is I tried to be somebody 20 years ago in writing emails and writing texts and trying to sound all professional that I wasn't. So I want you to make that shift for yourself because there are people out there right now who need to hear you, specifically from you, to hear your message and your voice with your perspective from your lived experiences. And they can't find you if you're writing like a managed version of yourself rather than who you authentically are. So here's a real simple practice I want you to try this week. Take something you've already written, a post, an email, a caption, and read it out loud. Does it sound like you? Like you actually would say these words in a real conversation with someone you trust face to face? Or does it sound like a slightly formal, slightly careful, slightly sanded down version of who you are? Find one sentence that feels too managed and rewrite it with how you'd really say it and maybe even how you feel it. Just one sentence. That's the practice. Then leave it in when you publish it. Don't edit it back out. I want you to see what happens when you start showing up using your voice in writing and in posts and in blogs and Substacks, wherever it is that you're writing. I want you to sound like yourself. I want that enthusiasm to come through. I want that vulnerability to come through. I want them to see and feel and hear your lived experiences in writing almost as much as if they could see it in person. I want them to feel like, oh, this is you. This is somebody I can work with. This is somebody who has lived. This is somebody who's going where I want to be going. And I want you to notice what happens, right? Remember, over on Substack on Friday, I have a short recorded audio about this, a few prompts to help you find where you've been editing yourself small and start leaving the real thing. So you can get that over on Substack. If you join in, you can get that free short guided audio. So go over and subscribe to my Substack. It's down in the show notes. And continue growing with me and building with me over on Substack because we're building together. Right. Come find your voice. Come find your voice with us over on Substack because that's why I built that space. I'm going to leave you today with that you already have a voice. The work isn't to develop one. It's to stop editing the one that you have. Say the real thing in your real words for the real people who are waiting to hear it. I'm in your corner, my friends, because I already know how fabbo you are, right? Till next week, get out there, use your voice. I know you've got plenty of things to say, and people are waiting to hear them.